Welcome again, my friends, to the Fat Man's revisitation of the Twilight 2000 game system, a continuation at Game Designer's Workshop. These are perhaps the only two consecutive modules that were designed purposely to be used in sequence: Pirates of the Vista and the Ruins of Warsaw. I'm going to focus on this one for this particular video. Pirates of the Vista, Twilight 2000. This is version 1. I don't think I have anything from the other later versions. And designed by William H. Keith. Copyright 1985. Now, as game systems go, as I've said, we have a lot of discussions these days about rules light and rules heavy, and I'm an honest believer that Twilight 2000 was rules light even in its conception, and its various editions later probably continued to that. It's definitely story driven, very heavily into story, and the adventure modules and supplements really go to the extra mile to give you that information. In this particular case, it's made the assumption that your player group is still in Krakow, and the situation there may have gotten a little bit hairy for them, and maybe they need to get out of town for a while because they got a number of different groups after them, or maybe things are slowed down there and they're looking for some additional whatever. They're approached by a fellow named Adam, who is the owner of one of the few existing tugboats that remain on the river. He has a plan to go to travel to the ruins of Warsaw, which was hit by several nukes, to rescue his son and son's family and anybody else that they can get on board. He's looking to hire extra muscle, and this is where the player group comes into play. And so for the most part, that's what this module is about. It's about escorting this ship and its barge to Warsaw along the route. And we've got the adventure plots, river cruise, talks about referee's notes on the river cruise, preparations for the voyage, the river, navigating the river encounters, things like sandbars and sawyers, mud shoals, submerged wrecks. The Vistula Corolla, this is the tug we're talking about, and this feller here is Dzandobi or Adam, Polish. He had twin screws powered by two 1200 horsepower diesel engines that now have been converted for steam operation. Mounts two heavy duty winches, blah, blah, blah. Gives you the equipment that the ship carries, its basic stats. Talks about the engines, the conversion, operating the vessel. Talks about the barge. Gives you a breakdown of the compartments and stuff that's in the ship itself. Quite a bit of information, details on the specifics. Combat in the Corolla, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing the terminology of the words. It is what it is. Special damage results. The crew, in addition to Adam, his first mate Carl Uller, and a handful of others. Some may be problematic and some may not. Crew motives, other boats. Talks about other things on the river, converting damage. Section 1, Noe Huda to the Vistula River, distance 100 kilometers, channel depth, river width, towns and landmarks, the list of rumors that you can roll for, the general encounters on the river that you can roll for. Noe Huda, counter tables, Polish, so on and so forth. Bunch of towns I can't pronounce. Various encounters along the various stretches, so when you reach a new location, here's an encounter for each major location. Then we get to section 2, the Vistula to the Slaren River. blah blah. The blueprints of the tug itself and the barge. Generic river map, so I imagine you would be able to take this and photocopy it. And now this is a particular style that seems to be no longer in vogue, and it's one of those things that I wasn't totally pleased with when ironically enough, Dungeons and Dragons modified and went to the standard square as opposed to the hex maps of the old systems. I preferred the hex maps because it gave you flanks and facings, and they were much more clear to understand. If you're facing this way, you're right, your left rear, your right, you know, and I mean, it just, to me, it makes more sense. But apparently they didn't care for it. They changed it. And a lot of game systems typically follow suit. So when the D&D people decide something, the industry seems to follow, and it's sad. This is one of those things that I think they should have left alone. And in my own systems, I prefer this over the square ones. It just makes more sense to me. We got some charts for weapons and terrain, ranges, damages, experience levels for non-players, fire effectiveness. Here's an overview map of the particular adventure. So we're starting out up here in Krakow and eventually going to end up somewhere down in here. So we're going to travel this whole distance, and that's pretty much the whole point, is this version, this river crawl, if you will, from here to here, and ideally we're going to get there intact with everybody. Now this is one of those things I talked about in a couple earlier vids I did about, and I mentioned this on some recent talks on one of the, I think the RPG Brigade or the OSR channel, one of the two, that I wish I hadn't done this. I did this with too many of my earlier game systems. This is meant to be removed, and this is meant to be removed. That's why they're and used separate from the book. The downside with removing them was once they're removed from the book, it's just too much. It's just far easier to misplace them or lose them. And because I never played the particular game system, these never got pulled out. And in later years, I learned the value of finding somebody else who's pulled them out and getting copies of it. Usually you can do that with the internet. You couldn't do that back in the day. Or otherwise I would take this and go have it photocopied, have the various pages photocopied and taped them together. But I'd leave them in the book so they don't disappear. We're talking about various towns. So Townsburg is another countless Polish town which is taken over by marauders. People live here in constant fear of the hands of self-styled Kroll or King and his group of henchmen. The marauder band are stuck at Barrel. Bernaros and Ritzky came from Terzenberg, Ternolrezeg, geez, Polish names, which is the base of operation for a band of about 20 deserters from the 38th Tank Division. That's the Soviet Tank Division, I assume. These bands are the remainder of a much larger force, so on and so on. I'll give you counter information. The War of the Bandit Kings. This is where your characters can get drawn into some petty conflicts between some of these would-be bandit kings that are trying to control the river. Section 3, Sand River to Devlin. We passed the wreck of Adams' other tugboat. The diplomats over its loss. Additional rumor charts. To give an example, rumor A, Warsaw is a complete desert, nothing but ruins and rads. Why do you want to go there for? Rumor B, Warsaw and the whole district south of Devlin is ruled by a madman who calls himself Baron Karsny, or the Black Baron. His army of 10,000 men, and not even the army can deal with him. Rumor C, the Polish government is cracking down on marauders and bandits. They aim to establish complete control over everything south of the Bug and east of the Wisla before winter. Rumor B or D, a Polish army division was massacred in Poland by bandits last week. It is what it is. Are they real? Are they true? Are they not? Is there some kernel of truth in there? Only you shall tell as you go through the adventure. Town. Counters. This is truly a different version of a dungeon crawl. So calling it a river crawl is very to the point. Getting from A to B. Section 4, Devlin to Warsaw, same thing. Additional issues Can you save some of these townspeople? Can you help them out of their problems? Do you combat the marauders? The biggest threat for the particular game, this particular book, would be coming up into this section of the pirate fleet. The Corsairs are the naval portion of Baron Karsny's marauder army. Their admiral, one Jerzy Wystarowski, is under orders to use his forces to terrorize the local populations, extort whatever booty he can from other ships on the river. Cressida operate up sometimes up to 50 or 60 kilometers up or down the river. The actual fleet consists of the following. It lists roughly 25 boats. Most of them are small, under 20 tons. A handful of them are in the 50-ton range and armed with enough stuff to make them a challenge to the tug and the players. Use from Warsaw ending the adventure. Then we get some additional rules: riverine combat, scale, unit, sequence, initiative, movement, spotting, aim shots, combat, light wounds, fragmentation, all rounds, morale boarding. It says, Pirates of the Vista is an adventure model for Twilight 2000. The mighty Vistula River sets the stage for the journey from Krakow to the remains of Warsaw aboard the river tug Wisła Króla. But the Vistula has seen better days. The river has been left untended for years as the war raged around it, now overcome with debris and sandbars. All of them, the important forces along the river, such as the bandit and marauder units, and of course the vicious river pirates, who virtually rule the river itself, are described in terms of organization, equipment, and motivations. The module itself is not just one adventure, but several. Together they represent life along the river, such as it is after the nearly complete destruction left in the wake of the war. Separately, they provide many adventures from rescuing cities from tyrannous marauders to choosing sides between warring bandit kings to simply staying alive as the river pirates draw ever nearer. In addition, Pirates of Vista provides complete rules for a new type of warfare in the world of Twilight 2000, riverine combat. New rules allow for the resolution of river battles quickly and easily. Pirates of Vistula gives a rich, detailed look at the entire course of the Upper Vistula, its environs, and just one section of the war-ravaged world of Twilight 2000. There you have it. Pirates of the Vistula.